Okay, so we're trying to find where this function is, we're looking for the zeros and where it's undefined. Now, to make it a little easier for us to do that, what I want to do is I want to rewrite it. Instead of cosecant, cosecant squared, I want to write it as 1 over, so cosecant, remember, is 1 over sine, so this is going to be 1 over 2 sine squared of t over 2. And let me put the 1 over here in the center of the fraction. Okay, so I'm trying to find the zeros, but also I want to know where this guy is undefined. Now, it's undefined when this denominator here is equal to 0, right? Because you can't divide by 0. So the first question is, where is sine squared of t over 2, or 2 sine squared t over 2, equal to 0? Okay, well, we don't really need to worry about the 2 there because, that's not going to affect. So basically, and the squared also isn't affecting this at all either. We're basically looking for where is sine of t over 2 equal to 0. Okay, so let's think about our unit circle here for a minute. So we know that, so let me draw the unit circle here. Okay, so we know that sine on the unit circle is the y value. So it's going to be 0 right here. It's going to be 0 right here. And this is pi. And then, of course, 2 pi and 3 pi and so on and so forth. So, but now the issue here, though, is that we have t over 2. So what we're going to say is that, here, let's put it right here, it's undefined when t over 2 is equal to, so let's write that down. This is either 0 or pi or 2 pi and so on and so forth. And then also, we have negative pi, negative 2 pi. So I'm going to write this as k. So if t over 2 is equal to k times pi, where k is a integer, so positive or a negative number. Okay, so what that means is that t would have to equal to, if you multiply by 2, you would get 2k pi, where k is an integer. So this means that, we've got, for example, at it's going to be 0 at 0, and it's going to be 0 at 2 pi, and at 4 pi, and at 6 pi, and so on and so forth. So that's for t. Okay, so that's when it's undefined. Now, the zeros, so for that, we need to do a little bit more work. Okay, so we've got this guy right here. And so now that we've gotten those guys out of the way, let's try to solve this guy for 0. So the first thing what I would want to do is get rid of the fraction. So why don't we just multiply both sides by, we're going to multiply both sides by 2 sine squared of t over 2. So if I do that, on the right side I'm going to get 0. And on the left side, when I distribute this guy, I'm going to get 2 sine squared of t over 2 minus 1. right? Because here this guy is going to cancel, and so we're going to be left with just 1, and then 2 times this times 1 is just that guy. Okay, now let's continue. So to solve this, I'll move the 1 over and then move the 2 over. So then I have sine squared of t over 2 is equal to positive 1/2. Okay, so now the question is, well, where does sine squared equal to 1/2? And actually, let me do it a little bit. Let's get rid of the squared here. So I'm going to get rid of the squared by getting the square root of both sides. But remember, it's plus or minus. So we want to know, when is sine of t over 2 equal to positive 1 over root 2 or negative 1 over square root of 2. Okay. Now, to do this, well, let's first go back to our unit circle. I know that sine is to equal to 1 over root 2 or negative 1 over root 2. The reference angle is going to be pi over 4. Okay, and so it's equal to positive 1 over root 2 right here. It's equal to positive 1 over root 2 right here, and then right here, and then right here. So no matter if you go in the positive direction or the negative direction, that's what it is. So if I, just kind of write some numbers down, I would say that t over 2 would have to equal to, for example, pi over. If I go in the positive direction, I would land at pi over 4. The next one would be 3 pi over 4. The next one would be 5 pi over 4. The next one would be, well, 7 pi over 4. Let me just not write that. I'll just put little dots. But also, all the negatives. So if I go in the other direction, I would have negative pi over 4, negative 3 pi over 4, negative 7 pi over 4. Okay, so if I write this down for the general case, I would say that this is equal to 2k plus 1 pi all over 4, where k is an integer. So, these are all the odds, and then times pi over 4. And if you're, not sure about that, just try plugging in 0 and 1 and 2 and 3 and negative 1, negative 2. You'll see you get exactly these guys. Okay, and then the last thing you would want to do is multiply by 2 to get rid of this 2 here. And then, so then what you would get is t is equal to 2k plus 1 times pi over 2, because these guys cancel, or reduce, sorry, where k is an integer. And so that's it. We found where the zeros are, and we found where this function is undefined.